Guys, this is Miss Clevenger. This is for those of you that need to make up the Unit 7 test. If you don't have a study guide already, when you get to school on Monday, the study guides are in the folder behind my door. So let's go ahead and get started. The first question wants us to write an inequality statement. So we're going to write an inequality statement. This is our verb, this is what we're going to do, this is what it's going to look like. It's an inequality statement, which means it does not have an equal sign. So let's read it. It says, Jessica has at least 20 pairs of shoes in her closet. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to circle or underline our keywords. And I think that this is our biggest keyword in this sentence. So at least. At least means that it's the smallest amount that I can have, but I could have more. So if it's the smallest and I could have more, then we're going to be less. It's going to be greater than or equal to. So it's going to be greater than or equal to what? And it's that 20. So we know that the number of shoes that she has in her closet is greater than or equal to 20 pair. The same thing happens with the next one. It wants us to write an inequality. So to be able to write an inequality, we have to find our keyword. So a minimum order of $25 is required for delivery, for free delivery. Our keyword is the word minimum. Just like at least, minimum means that it's the smallest amount that I can have. It's the smallest amount that I can have, but I could pay more. Therefore, it is going to be greater than or equal to, because I can have more. And what is it going to be greater than or equal to? Well, it's going to be greater than or equal to this $25. And what is going to be my order? My order has to be greater than, or I don't like using the letter O. Now that I see it, it looks like a 0. So let's go ahead and just use the letter X. That X needs to be greater than or equal to $25. Our next two questions want us to solve and then graph our inequalities. Remember, to get a number on the opposite side of the line, we have to do the opposite operation. 7x tells me that I am multiplying x by 7. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So I need to divide by 7. And if I divide by 7 on one side, then I have to divide by 7 on the other side. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 1 times x is x. I did not multiply or divide by a negative number, so my symbol stays the same. And 91 divided by 7 is 13. And if we didn't know for sure, we could do 91 divided by 7. 7 goes into 9 one time. 1 times 7 is 7. When I subtract, I get 2 and bring down my 1. 7 goes into 21 3 times. 3 times 7 is 21, and that's my answer. So that's how I got the x is less than or equal to 13. But it didn't just want me to solve for x. It wanted me to graph it. So when I graph this inequality on the number line, the number I need is that 13. The less than or equal to tells me that it's going to be a shaded in circle. And because it's less than or equal to, I'm going to go to the left. And on the left of 13, I have 12. And on the right of 13, I have 14. And that would be the graph of the equation. On the next one, they want us to solve for x and then graph it. But this one is a subtraction at first. So not only are we going to solve it, we are going to graph it when we're done. But this one's subtracting, and to get it to the other side, we have to add because it's the opposite of subtracting. The opposite of minus 19 is plus 19. If I add 19 to one side, I have to add 19 to the other side. This creates a 0 pair. I'm left with x. I have to bring it down. 45 plus 19. 5 plus 19, 9 is 14. Put down my 4, carry my 1, 4, 5, 6, so I get 64. I did not multiply or divide by a negative number, so I just bring down my sign, and my sign says that x is going to be greater than 64. Now it's time to graph it, so I'm going to graph this question. I have to have 64 on my number line. 64 is greater, or x is greater than 64, so I know that it's going to be an open circle, and because it's greater than, it's going to point to the right. Above 64 is 65, to the left of 64 is 63, and that is how we graph this equation. Now on the next two, I'm just going to show you how to write the inequality, and then you can practice solving it for your own. So what we're going to do on the video is write the inequality. You're going to solve it on your own now that we've practiced solving before. It says your brother has $2,000 saved for a vacation. $2,000 saved is a keyword. I'm going to circle it. His airplane ticket is $6.37, or $637. It says write and solve an inequality to find out how much he can spend for everything else. So because I know that he's already saved $2,000, that's the most that he can spend. So you have to think that at most he can spend $2,000. And what does at most mean? Well, at most means that $2,000 is the most I can spend, but I could go under. So that's going to be less than or equal to, because he has $2,000, he can spend that, or he can spend anything less than that. He's already spent $637 on his plane ticket, so he can spend whatever is left over. So whatever's left over plus the amount of the plane ticket has to be less than or equal to that $2,000. And that is how we write this equation, or this inequality. Now that we have the inequality, you should be able to solve it. The next question says the school PTA would like to raise a minimum of $3,000. I already know that minimum of $3,000 is going to be important in my situation. In the cookie dough fundraiser, each container of cookie dough costs $15. That's a big important word right there, each, because that tells me I'm going to be multiplying. So I'm going to be multiplying by X. Each container costs $15, so how many does the school need to sell? Well, we go back up to minimum. What does minimum mean? That that's the least amount that I can sell, but I could sell more. So I'm going to be greater than or equal to $3,000, because I want more than $3,000, or at least $3,000. I know that each container is $15, but I do not know how many containers of cookies I have sold, so we're multiplying that. And because of that, you should be able to solve it now that we have it in 15 times C is greater than or equal to 3,000. On the back, I'm not going to go over the solving because I think that y'all should be able to solve it now that we've practiced a couple. The only difference between these and the ones on the front or that these have decimals, so you're going to have to deal with multiplying or dividing or adding or subtracting a decimal. But let's look at these two down here. It says write an inequality statement to match the graph. So the first thing I know is that this is a closed circle. So whatever it is going to have an equal to part. My arrow is facing to the left, which means it's going to be less than or equal to. I know that X has to go first. So now we just have to figure out what this number is. Well, my number line is going from -2 to +2. So let's see how many lines there are. This would be -1, this would be 0, and this would be 1. So what number is between 0, halfway between 0 and 1 would be 0.5. Or you could have said that X is less than or equal to 1/2. It is completely up to you how you write that. I would take either one. So now let's try the next one. The next one says write an inequality statement to match the graph. Well, first off, I know that this is a closed-in circle, so it's going to be an equal to. My arrow is going to the right, so I know it's going to be greater than, because all the numbers to the right are greater than the one before them. X has to be first, or the variable, whatever variable you choose, has to be first when we're graphing. So let's see what these numbers would represent. I'm going from -2 to 6, and I only have 3 numbers, so the chances are we're counting by 2. But let's just check, because this would be 4, this would be 2, this would be 0. And that is a pattern. We're counting by 2s. So what number is halfway between 2 and 4? Well, that number is 3. So X is greater than or equal to 3. I hope this helped. If you have any more questions, please send me a message on Remind. Take a picture of it. Send it to me. Ask your question. I will do my best next week to get it as fast as I can back to you. And have a great week and good luck on your makeup test on Friday.